Not really, okay? So anyway, we do that on a quarterly basis. We have corporate events, the big convention every year, and we just celebrate all the success. We celebrate people that have grown through the ranks. We celebrate all the people that have changed our lives. You hear stories about well, like Myrna, where she said, I wanted to have something that's more fulfilling in my life. I wanted to do something. We hear these stories. We have an Amish lady. Now think about this for a second. We have an Amish lady. Do they use iPads a lot? Do they? Do they use cell phones a lot? Okay, we have an Amish lady who is a Pro 7 in this business. She's a Pro 7 and she doesn't even use a cell phone. Now think about that. We get to hear those kind of stories. So if you're at that event, if you're at that Elite Academy and you're watching her come across stage with her however many kids she has, are you not sitting there going, wow, what is my problem, right? Right? Aren't you? Aren't you saying that? That's the kind of success people are having in our company. Why? Why are people doing that? It's because we pass the test. That's why. It levels the playing field. We don't care where you live. We don't care what you do. We don't care how old you are, how young you are. We don't care whether you're male, female. We don't care how educated you are. It simply does not matter. When you show people this test and how our company passes this test, people go, I'm in. That's what they do. Because the what if is too huge. The what if is big. Because do people make it? Yes. Who are they? The ones who get early and then grow with a company that becomes big. That's where the success in this industry is. Do we all agree? Yeah. Okay? All right. Not necessary but nice stuff. I told you some of this stuff is there. You guys know who Herbalife is because they sponsor LA Galaxy, right? We sponsor the Salt Lake Real.
We do.
Is that awesome? How many of you guys have been to one of their games? We have a Salt Lake Real shirt right here, okay? Salt Lake Real, okay? Now what happened is a year ago, this is how great our CEO is. A year ago he said, you know what, we're just a little teeny company, but if we have the opportunity to kind of behave like a big company, that would make sense. If we can empower our little company distributors like the big companies that are multi-billions, we think that that will be an advantage. So they went out and got the contract to sponsor the Salt Lake Real. They've been in the playoffs for the last, I think, 7 or 8 years in a row. They played for the championship last year, but it was before we sponsored them, so they were kind of at a disadvantage, and they lost a kickoff at the very end because our name wasn't on the shirt. But anyway, he said, we're going to do this for all of you. Every time that team comes on TV, I pause it and I go, Tasha, look, look, look. She goes, I've seen it, Tyler. You know? I'm like, I know, but it's cool. Anyways, they've done that so we have exposure. So that when you're talking about our company and they see that stuff on ESPN or they see it on the front cover of the video games that our kids play, it's helpful. It's not necessary, but it's nice. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. How about things like this? How many of you guys have been involved in companies that have a car program where they reimburse you for a car payment? Have you guys ever seen those? Okay. If you don't qualify for that reimbursement, do they keep paying the car payment for you? So who has to make it? You do. What if your car payment, like most people, is $1,800 because you went out and extended yourself into some $120,000 car? What if your car payment's $1,300, $1,500, $1,800 and they're not reimbursing the payment? Are you in trouble? Is that being responsible with you and your finances? Because I kind of don't think it is. Okay? I kind of don't think it is. What our CEO did is he said, well, instead of putting people into a reimbursement situation, we're going to hand you the title. We're going to give it to you. You can take it, you can drive it, you can sell it, you can wreck it, you can do whatever you want. It's yours. Do whatever you want with it. He also said we're going to give away cars that represent not following the path that society says you should follow. That 40-year work till you're 70 and then die path. We're not going to do that, right? We're going to give you a car that says get off the beaten path, make your own way. So we give out Jeep Wranglers to everybody who qualifies at the Pro 7 rank. You don't even have to be at the top. And we give it to you. It's not necessary, but it's nice, right? Okay? How about this? How about in the last 5 years our company's been so successful financially that we can go out and recruit some of the best minds in the industry. They hired a guy named David Phelps. How many of you guys have met David Phelps? Now I will admit he wears some pretty funky suits. Okay? He wears colorful suits. They have like pink, like what are those little stripes and plaids, and you're just like, dude, where did you get that material? Right? It's like, what are you wearing? Right? But he's awesome. Is he not fun to listen to? He's motivating, he's inspiring, he thinks outside of the box, even with what he wears, okay? This guy's been in the industry for 25 or 30 years. 25 to 30 years. He's been with little companies, big companies, he's helped companies grow, he's been part of them as they've crashed. He's here to help make sure that our company misses all the little, or doesn't make all the little mistakes that these other companies did. Helping us know where the traps are so that we can avoid them. We were able to bring him in not even a year ago. Not even a year ago. It was just under a year ago, okay, that we brought him in. He's fun to have. Good decision by our CEO. He then brought in a guy named Dr. Talbot. Okay, Dr. Talbot, with all of he's got a series of videos so that when you get done showing people this and they say, I want more product information, you can actually go push play on his videos and it will tell you everything you want to know scientifically about that product. He's also, for the first time in about 11 years for me, I listen to him on stage and I go, I don't have to play Angry Birds this time. Right? Because he understands the relationship of the product to the distributor. He understands how to say it at a level that we can understand. Is that helpful? He's been an advisor to the White House. He's worked with Dr. Oz. He's a big deal. That's who he is. He's a big deal. Okay? And Doug Robinson went out and brought these two guys in. Let me tell you who else is paying attention to what we do. You guys know who the Direct Sellers Association is? They call themselves the DSA. You guys ever heard of them? The Direct Sellers Association, okay? The Direct Sellers Association is kind of an oversight committee. That's what they do. They watch what companies do in this industry, and they kind of help them. They answer questions. It gives you credibility if you're a member of it, kind of a thing, okay? Well, they have an advisory committee that 2 years ago they asked Doug Robinson, our CEO of this little teeny baby company, to be a part of. Last year they asked him to be on the board of directors. Why? Why would this committee, why would this group, this DSA, ask our little teeny CEO to be on the board of directors? Do you think that just maybe, with all the experience they have, watching the Herbalifes and the New Skins and the Amways and the Mary Kays of the world, do you think that just maybe they're watching the decisions he's making and going, they could be the next one? What do you think? Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Why else would you have him on the board of directors? If you didn't respect his opinion, would you ask him to be there? Probably not. Does that kind of make sense? He just spoke in Brazil last week, you guys. They asked him to go down there and be one of the keynote speakers. Our little teeny baby company, our CEO is representing the DSA. Is that a big deal? It's not necessary, is it? But does it give you confidence? Is it nice? It is, right? Is this kind of making sense? Do we pass the test, you guys? What do you think? Okay? So if we can get past the whole network marketing issue and you start to know that people do make it, if you get in early, you pass the test, there's really no reason for you not to be excited about this, is there? This is an opportunity. It's huge. So I'm going to tell you one last story, and then we're going to wrap this thing up and answer questions. Was that rough? Was it? Was that okay? Okay? All right. Here's the last story I'm going to tell you. I like to use other companies as examples as to where we're at, or maybe what we can expect, or a possibility of what we're going to go through. Okay? New Skin went on a typical S-curve that you would learn in business class or economics or whatever. New Skin started in 1984. In 1989, they were doing about $4 million per month in sales. So that took them 5 years to get there, right? From 1984 to 1989, they went through a formulation period where they were losing money. They finally stabilized that out. They grew to about $4 million per month. Okay? At this point, this is a critical mass moment. What that means is there's enough people talking about them that it starts to catch fire. It starts to become a little bit more common. It starts to be, this one's going to be it. It's going to work. Maybe we should get involved. It starts to really start to ramp up. What happened to them is by 1991, 2 years later, they were doing $52 million per month. 2 years later. How exciting would have this been? 5 years to get to 4, 2 years to get to 50. Damn. That would have been a good time, right? Now, from that point, they've gone into other countries and done this similar S-curve in other countries. They're now a couple $1 billion or so. They're publicly held. They're publicly held. They're traded on the stock market. You can go check them out. You can go see this stuff. They report all this stuff. You can check it out. Okay? What I like to do is I like to look at this and say, where are we? Because again, if we're trying to recognize an opportunity, if we're trying to make a decision tonight as to whether I'm going to put time into this because there's a possibility for a financial change, I want to know where I'm at. Wouldn't you? I don't want to be last. So, we started in 2009. It is 2014. 5 years. 5 years. We did $200 million last year. Some of you are doing the math saying that's way more than $4 million a month, right? Well, let me tell you something extremely unique with our company. something that is not happening in others. Our product is so strong. The science on our product is so strong. It is setting such a huge example that 80% of the people, 80% of that volume is coming in from customers. Because even if you do this the way I'm doing this, some people get to the end of it and go, I need to know more about that product. I'm not going to do the networking thing, but I'm going to take that product. Okay? That's what we're finding. 80% of this comes from customers. What is this? This is the voice, isn't it? This is the ones talking about the company. Who are they? Distributors, right? Distributors. So if 20% of our volume comes from distributors, what's 20% of 200 million? It's 40 million. What's 40 million divided by 12?
3.5.
3.6 or so? 3.6 million? Where are we? We're right there. We are right there. So here's the deal. 5 years ago when I looked at this and the company was broke and we didn't have any peer reviews and we were wondering if the comp plan would work and we were begging people to help us, you could have looked at me 5 years ago and you could have said, well, Tyler, I'm going to go ahead and see how this works out for you. Right? And you'd still be okay today, wouldn't you? You'd still be okay today. What if you do that for the next 5 years? Are you going to be okay? Not if we do that, right? You're not going to be okay if we do that. So tonight it's time to make a choice. It's time to make a decision. I kind of look at this like sitting out in the ocean trying to catch a wave. Okay? If you're on your surfboard and you see a wave coming and you sit on your surfboard, what happens when the wave gets to you? Goes under you, doesn't it? Is there anybody in here that thinks you can paddle hard enough or fast enough to get back in front of that wave? Peter can? Wow! You're awesome. Okay? Okay? Do you think you can? Probably not, right? You probably can't get it. So what do you have to do? I mean, you saw the wave coming. You saw the opportunity coming. You saw your chance to catch this wave and take you all the way into shore. And you didn't do anything about it. What do you have to do? You have to wait for the next one. You know what you have to hope? You have to hope you're in the right place. You better hope you're in the right room. You better hope you're in the right spot. You better be in a place where you can actually catch it. You better hope that you're back down here, right? So if you want to catch that first wave that's coming in, if you want to catch this wave, what does it take? It takes action, you guys. It takes a little effort. You've got to start moving through the water. You've got to make those contacts. You've got to show this to people. You've got to invite people, right? Because as we go through this, you guys, you catch that wave, it's going to take you all the way in. And you're not going to have to wait for the next one. This will be your opportunity. Am I making my point?
Yes.
You guys know why I do my presentation this way? It's because tonight's the time to make a decision as to whether we should take the next step. That's it. Okay? So now we're going to do that. We're done with the presentation. I appreciate you guys coming out. Okay? And for the rest of this, I'm going to ask all the recordings to be turned off because I'm going to open this up